and who won last year, and who is leading the championship with, as you can see, 3 wins in Italy, Spain and France, a 3rd in Belgium, a 2nd in Finland, and that gives him 67 points. And he is 16 points ahead of the brilliant young American Randy Mamola. Now there, number 2 in the foreground, the fiery Italian Marco Lucinelli, who tried to duff up a marshal with his crash helmet yesterday when he fell off. Conrod broke at Crop's Corner, and he was a bit wound up. The marshal was trying to stop him going anywhere, and Lucinelli was determined to go, and in the end he won. So Marco Lucinelli on his left, and on your right, Kenny Roberts. Now, number 23, tremendously interesting, the young Italian Graziano Rossi, 24 years old, the man who rode for Morbidelli in the 250 class last year and won 3 races in the 250 class. He's in 5th position in the World Championship, ex-school teacher, an extremely bright man and a delightful man to talk to. Alongside Graziano Rossi is Randy Mamola, the young American, number 10. There he is, only 20 years old, comes from a sporting family and has brought his parents over from America to see this race, and it's the first time that they have left their native shores. And in the background, we should be able to see Barry Sheene. Yes, there he is, number 7, Barry Sheene on the Yamaha. And there's Barry, who has just had the little finger of his left hand amputated after an accident earlier on this year when his hand was crushed underneath the bike. It doesn't seem to have affected his performance. There we are. They're the men who made last year's race. In the foreground, Kenny Roberts. In the background, Barry Sheene. Yamaha number 1, Yamaha number 7. The famous number 7 of Barry Sheene himself, 10th fastest in practice. Now, between Mamola and Sheene, there are Uncini, the Italian, Graham Crosby, that is 1 minute to go. Graham Crosby, the very determined New Zealand rider who won this year's Senior TT and the Suzuka race in Japan. Then Johnny Cecotto, the 1978 750 world champion. Will Hartog, the Dutchman, that's the front rank. Then Michel Rougerie, the Frenchman, Barry Sheene, Jack Middelberg, the Dutchman, Michel Frucci, the Swiss rider, Philippe Coulon, and completing the second row, Patrick Pons, the reigning 750 world champion, and the British rider, John Newbold. So, all set. The red lights are on. They will shortly flick to green, and then the 28 lap 1980 British Motorcycle Grand Prix will be on. The seconds are ticking away. The official is red and green. They go. And it looks like Mamola. It's Mamola and Crosby and Hartog going into Cox Corner first. Randy Mamola leads. No, Will Hartog takes the lead. Look for the white leathers of Will Hartog. It's Hartog and Mamola. And then the rest of the 40 riders, each of whose engines, and they're all 2-strokes with the one exception of Katayama's Honda, producing some 110 horsepower each, and it's Mamola, the American, leading Will Hartog as the rest of them stream through behind him. From Maggots into Beckett's, from Beckett's round Chapel, then down the Hanger Straight. And this is the fastest part of the course, 6th gear, 160 miles an hour. And in 3rd position, it's Marco Lucinelli. So, Mamola leads Suzuki, Hartog 2nd, Suzuki, Lucinelli 3rd, Suzuki. And they come now out of Stowe, down to Club Corner, the little short straight. You can see from the flags waving in the background that there's a good stiff breeze, and Mamola's really winding it on. Mamola, Hartog, Lucinelli, 3 Suzukis. Now they're up to Abbey Curve. And Abbey Curve, they come up into 6th gear, some 10,300 RPM, 150 miles an hour, under the bridge and into Woodcote. It's Randy Mamola, then Hartog, then Lucinelli, then Kenny Roberts in 4th position, then Rossi, then Graham Crosby in 6th place, and Mamola has got, as you see, Lucinelli now right in his wheel tracks. There's the Italian, there's Roberts in fourth position, so the leading Yamaha, ridden by the world champion, who has to finish ahead of Mamola to be world champion at the end of this race, is in fourth position. Randy Mamola, number 10. Lucinelli, Hartog. And those six, that's Barry Sheen behind these six riders. And behind Hartog, it's Roberts. Behind Roberts, it's Graziano Rossi. And there is Barry Sheen in seventh position. There's the Yamaha of Sheen. Now, can he close up? He needs to. This is the end of the second lap, 28 laps altogether, and that's a distance of 82 miles, as near as makes no difference. Barry Sheen, number 7. And I'll give you the gap between Sheen in 7th place and the 6th place man at the end of this lap, with Mamola, number 10, Lucinelli behind him as they come up to Woodcote, and those two are breaking away, and Roberts is up into 3rd position. Look for Kenny Roberts in 3rd position, Hartog 4th, Rossi 5th, Graham Crosby is in 6th position, Barry Sheen is in 7th position, and the gap between the 6th and 7th men, that's Barry Sheen, is 4.12 seconds.
Lucinelli's gone into the lead there, Murray.
Lucinelli leads. What's the tactics likely to be, Mike?
Well, I don't think there are any at the moment, Murray. I think they're just sorting themselves out, and everybody's waiting, playing a waiting game to see who's going to do what. But right now, they're still getting their tyres properly working temperature, I think.
Marco Lucinelli from La Spezia in Italy, 5 years experience, 4th in the World Championship in 1976, Italian champion, 9th in the 78 500cc World Championship, and a man with ambitions to race motorcars. But he's certainly racing motorcycles at the moment. It's Mamola back in the lead, then Lucinelli, and just look at the way they crank over, and Kenny Roberts is 3rd, the world champion 3rd. The gap between Roberts in 2nd place and Lucinelli is just under a second. Less than that now, as they come up to Abbey Curve. Very, very quick indeed. That's a 5th gear, 135-mile-an-hour bend, and now they're accelerating. This is the end of lap 3. Mamola, Lucinelli number 2, over the line, and Kenny Roberts is 0.7 seconds behind Marco Lucinelli. Roberts is gaining. Watch number 1, Kenny Roberts. He's on the 1979-80 Yamaha. World champion in 78, world champion in 79. Is said by many to be the greatest road all-rounder of all time. And Lucinelli goes through again. Lucinelli goes through on the right-hander at Beckett's on lap 4 out of 28. And once again, Mamola regains the lead. Terrific stuff at the front, and Kenny Roberts is remorselessly clawing back. Do you reckon Kenny is watching points and hanging back, or is he going to try and get through?
Well, he's already into 2nd place now, and he's right behind Mamola, so I think we'll be seeing him making a move for the front position any time now, and it's already developing into a very exciting race.
This is it, the 2 Americans at the front, great friends, and Randy Mamola has been brought on by Kenny Roberts, and Lucinelli back into 2nd position. You wouldn't think that this was a comparatively long-distance Grand Prix. It's like a real short-circuit race the way they're going at the moment. Mamola, Lucinelli and Roberts, that's the order at the moment, but Roberts has been up into 2nd position, and Kenny Roberts loves Silverstone, and to prove it, he's back into 2nd position as they go into Woodcote at the end of lap 5. And I can't identify that rider for you, but once again, as ever, the marshals are behaving very sensibly, surrounding him with straw brails in case there's another rider going off. There go the leaders, and it's Mamola, it's Roberts 2nd, it's Lucinelli 3rd, and it may be Graham Crosby who is off. I'm guessing because I can see Rossi, number 23, in 4th place as Roberts comes up to take the lead. Roberts is going to take Mamola, and he's done so on lap 5. Kenny Roberts who must keep ahead of Mamola to win the World Championship this year, and Mamola's fighting back. 110 horsepower from each of these engines, and Roberts takes it very wide. Mamola keeps on the inside, and Lucanelli is still with them. Then Rossi, and look at Hartog in the white leathers in 5th position. Hartog, the Dutchman, in 5th position, is closing up on Rossi. There is Rossi, there is Hartog in 5th place, and Barry Sheen is now in 7th position. It was Michel Rougerie who came off. 6 laps completed, Michel Rougerie, the Frenchman, out. Graham Crosby is in 6th position. There are the leaders. Barry Sheen is 7th. Behind Barry Sheen in 8th position is Franco Uncini. Marco Lucanelli reckoned he won the 1978 British Grand Prix in the appallingly wet conditions. That's number 2, who is in 3rd position at the moment. And he has never forgotten it. He was up on the rostrum complaining that he had won, and if he thought there had been a mistake in the lap scoring, he had not won, and he's determined to win this one. Barry Sheen, by the way, has gone down to 8th position because Franco Uncini has followed him in. There are the first 5. It's Mamola, Roberts, Lucanelli, Rossi, Will Hartog, and there is Graham Crosby on the Suzuki. And Crosby is starting to close up now in 6th position. This New Zealander who created a sensation on the sit-up and bang Formula One Kawasaki last year, into the works team for Suzuki in 1980, and there he is. That's Crosby in the red leathers, and that's the first 6, and we are on lap 7 with 21 to go. Mamola into Woodcote. This is 130 miles an hour in 4th gear. Roberts and Lucanelli. The gap between Lucanelli, who is 3rd, and Graziano Rossi, who is 4th, is some 3 seconds. There's Rossi, there's Hartog, behind Hartog, there is Hartog going through, there is Graham Crosby, and then there will be Uncini, number 5, and Barry Sheen. There's Bazza, there's Barry Sheen on the 4-cylinder Yamaha. Uncini, that's 7, Barry Sheen. And then behind Barry Sheen, who is in 8th position, is Jack Middelberg, the Dutchman. What a terrific pace. Downhanger straight this is, 6th gear, fastest part of the course, 11,000 RPM, 160 miles an hour, and Mamola and Crosby have pulled out a little bit of a gap from Marco Lucanelli on this lap. Lucanelli, the Italian, still 3rd.
You can see they're really trying hard there, Murray. Kenny was right off the road onto the bit of concrete on the edge of the track, so that just goes to show how hard he's trying. And as you say, they are pulling away fractionally from Lucanelli.
And Kenny Roberts, like all of them, wants to win this one. He likes the Silverstone track very much. The last Grand Prix was at Finland, which is a very tight, nadgery circuit on public roads. Roberts didn't like it at all, and when he got here, he said it was a real breath of fresh air to get on a circuit where you could really... And look at the back wheel pattering as he goes round Woodcote, behind Mamola leading. Lucanelli 3rd still, Rossi 4th, Hartog 5th, Graham Crosby in 6th position as we look at the world champion, number 1, Roberts, round Cox.
Kenny Roberts is definitely faster going into corners, Murray, but Mamola seems to be able to get the power on a little bit earlier and comes out of it a little bit quicker than Kenny does. But it's swings and roundabouts, so they're staying together beautifully there. And Lucanelli is hanging on for grim death there.
And we looked for a moment at the psychedelically painted blue helmet of Graziano Rossi in 4th position, number 23. There he is in the background, coming up to the right-hander at Stowe Corner. There's the bearded Graziano Rossi. You can see his long hair peeping out from under his helmet, but don't let that fool you, he's very tough indeed. 3rd in Italy, 4th in France, 2nd in Holland, and Rossi is in 5th position in the World Championship. Behind Lucanelli, Uncini, Mamola and Kenny Roberts, and Franco Uncini, number 5, is in 7th position at the moment. And as the leaders come towards us, by the way, with Mamola still leading Roberts, and Roberts again going through. I wonder if, Mike, Roberts is testing things for the last lap and a sprint through at Woodcote, because I noticed he's taken Mamola the last 2 laps there.
Well, I think he would be a bit foolish trying to test it out right so early in the race, because Mamola will know what he's trying to do.
And look at that! Uncini through into second place. First, second and third together. But Mamola had got the faster line on the inside and he held it. But Lucinelli, not Uncini, Lucinelli is right with them now. First, second and third together. And now Roberts definitely leading. Look at the knee, almost scraping the ground. Very heavily reinforced padding on the knees of their one-piece leather suits, because the riders actually scrape the knees of their leathers on the tarmac as they go round the corners. And out of the slipstream of Kenny Roberts comes Mamola to go through and take the lead at Stowe Corner, with Lucinelli holding a watching brief still in third position, and Graziano Rossi not so far behind them in fourth position. And Mamola flings his left hand out for some reason.
I would imagine, Murray, that would be Mamola tearing off one of his rip-off visors, because perhaps the flies have got on it and he wasn't being able to see too clearly. So they've got about 3 of those rip-off visors, and they tear them off one by one as their vision gets blurred.
There are thousands and thousands of people here. They were pouring into the circuit all through the night. Then the gates were closed. They were out again first thing this morning, and they're seeing the race of a lifetime as Mamola crosses the line and Lucinelli is up into second place. And look at the gap. Now that must have been a record lap. I've got the stopwatch running this lap on Randy Mamola to compare his time with that of Barry Sheene, who at the beginning of this race held. And did you see Lucinelli there? He got a real wobble on, and Barry Sheene's lap record, 1 minute 29.98 seconds, 117.1 miles an hour. Let's see how Randy Mamola, number 10, goes on this lap.
Mamola has definitely pulled out a little bit of an advantage there, Murray. I think perhaps Lucinelli is slowing Roberts down a little bit, if you can call this slowing down. Kenny Roberts definitely hasn't got the fastest bike in the race there. Lucinelli's bike was a little bit quicker. Now he's going up there. They've touched.
That? Did you see? Roberts had to lift halfway through the corner when Lucinelli dived underneath him there. And Roberts is now back into third position. They're round the right-hander and Cloud. They're up to Abbey. Look at this again. Watch Lucinelli go through on the inside and watch Roberts lift as he does so. Lucinelli diving through.
It looked to me, actually, Murray, as if they actually touched there in that corner.
And Barry Sheene is coming into the pits to retire, or certainly to have something done to his machine. There he is, Barry Sheene. It looks as though his race is run. And although the race has set into a pattern now, they've seen a real epic in the opening stages of the 1980 British Grand Prix, and the leader, Fact and Roberts too, is on his last lap, and it's going to be a truly famous victory. Ahead of number 1 there, Kenny Roberts, is number 10, Randy Mamola. Roberts round the right-hander at Copse, and Mamola some 8 seconds ahead of him now as he goes round the right-hander at Beckett's, up to Chapel, the left-hander, then down to the long hanger straight, and look at all the men that he has lapped. And 20-year-old Randy Mamola, a man very much destined for stardom, because if he can do this in this Marlborough British Grand Prix with such consummate and effortless ease as he appears to have done, with so little World Championship experience behind him. And look at that! Incredible! Randy Mamola spots the camera and gives it the number 1 sign. I am going to win. Fantastic. And he's waving. He really is taking it at his ease now, waving to the crowd, doing a Steve Ovett on 2 wheels as he goes, and he's looking over his shoulder. He sees, I see no Kenny Roberts. And how can he? Because Roberts is 8 seconds behind him. The checkered flag is now out, and the British Grand Prix has been won by Randy Mamola in brilliant style. A superb ride, one of the best rides I have ever seen in Grand Prix racing. Kenny Roberts touring across the line, going very, very much slower. In second position, now we wait for Marco Lucinelli, and that's his wheelie. I knew he'd do it. Randy Mamola doing his celebration wheelie. He's famous for this. Gives it an excess of throttle, gets the front wheel right off the ground, and he will, inside that helmet of his, I suspect not be his usual impassive self, and that's Bert van Doelman that he shook hands with, the Dutchman, the Dutch rider who won a Grand Prix last year, and up it goes again. 4 horsepower. That's sheer youthful exuberance, and it's totally justified. There's Roberts.
There he goes.
Now Roberts is catching up to him. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I think he's absolutely superb. I've seen him doing this at Donington, and and Roberts is doing it as well.
Yeah,
what tremendous showman. Kenny, although he must be a bitterly disappointed man, because I'm sure he would like to have sewn up the championship today. The great sport that he is, still putting on a crowd for the show. What a wonderful couple of showmen these two guys are.
They really love their motorcycle sport, these two, and they really are the very greatest of friends. And there, the results. Mamola, the winner. Kenny Roberts on the Yamaha with Mamola on a Suzuki. Then Marco Lucinelli and a formation wheelies. Great stuff. And one of the best British Grand Prix, one of the best Grand Prix ever, I think. So victory for Mamola ahead of Kenny Roberts, Marco Lucinelli third, in fourth place Rossi, in fifth place Cecotto, and